My commute to work is 240 miles round trip. Should I buy a car or quit? Which to me, this is like a crazy amount of miles. So, like, let's say what? Let's just say 60 miles per hour on the highway, although technically it's going to be higher. But 60 miles per hour, like, is like, yeah, we're just going to do that. So, let's say what? 240 divided by 60. You're spending 4 hours every time you go to work and back? Dear God, that's so much commuting. My job was originally work from home, but now needs me to go in person 3 times per week. Okay, so that's 12 hours of commuting per week. Dang. My current car has 240,000 miles and gets 22 miles per gallon on the highway. That is horrendous for the highway. Horrendous. With my current car, I'd spend $8,300 on gas for my commute for the whole year. Buying the car I want would save me $2,600 per year on gasoline. This is approximately the amount I'd pay per month on the car payment. What the actual hell? Oh, oh, oh. $2,600 per month on a car payment? You want to spend $31,200 a year on your car to save $2,600 a year on gas? That makes no sense at all, right? So minus 2,600. That means you're doing all this to be in debt every year, or basically to spend money every year of $28,600. Whoever this person is, you got to be making some crazy amount of money to even remotely try to justify this. I like my job and my coworkers absolutely need me, but the commute is so far. I agree. You're basically driving like, oh gosh, like 2 hours there and 2 hours back. I believe I can get a job that is only 80 miles round trip, but unfortunately I'd go 4.5 times per week. I have 3 years of work experience. If I get a new job, it would be my third position. I don't want to appear like a job hopper. The thing is, like, if you were to explain why you're hopping jobs is because of the commute and you live basically in the middle of nowhere, then they would probably understand. I also have a newborn and 1.5-year-old at home, so I enjoy the 2 days I get to stay home with them. Any advice? Would y'all get a position nearby that was 5 times per week in person? Buy a new car? Thanks. To me, now again, I don't know what this person's making, but they gotta be making some crazy amount of money. But I would try to find another work from home job because you trying to buy like a new car to try to save $2,600 a year on gas is beyond insane because you're spending like $36,000. Like that's a year. That's crazy talk. That is crazy talk. I would absolutely not commute 3+ hours a day, multiple times a week. Agreed. I did a shorter drive but commuted into Boston, so my commute was 2-ish hours each way. I thought it was fine while I was doing it, and as soon as I quit, my mental health became so much better. I didn't even see how terrible it was until I stopped doing it, which is completely understandable. This post makes absolutely no sense to me. Your job is 120 miles away, and your employer is unwilling to let you continue working remote. It's time to move on. That's what I'm thinking. I used to do 100 miles each way per day, 5 days per week. Wasn't as bad as it sounds. No traffic, smooth sailing, 75 miles per hour interstate. Listen to a ton of audiobooks during that stretch. Again, I think it really all depends, right? You left out how much you're getting paid and how much you'd be paid closer to home. Don't sweat job hopping, that's absolutely their problem, not yours. If you want to save money, you could always ask for a raise to pay for the travel. Now, that is an interesting option because if you were to get a raise to cover the cost of travel, then it might make more financial sense. Well, it might be basically like meh, right? Like you're not really losing money in a sense. Do you or anyone think Op would be able to ask for a raise commensurate to paying for a hotel or apartment near work? I see so many positions nowadays trying to switch from totally remote to mostly in person. The friends that I know in these positions just quit to find another mostly remote position. But I wonder if anyone has had luck asking for a large raise and justifying it by saying that would be the case if getting a studio apartment or hotel within 30 miles. My commute to work is 240 miles round trip. I know, like when I first saw this, I was like, wait, what? Am I reading that right? Something like 2 hour commute both ways, 4 hours total? Not sure if you've done this yet, but since you haven't mentioned anything about it, make a formal request to be permanently remote, given your distance to work. I get that employers are starting to require return to work since the pandemic, but your situation should definitely be considered an exception. 8 hours of work, then 4 total hours in the car is insane. Agreed. Maybe negotiate for only 1 day in the office a week, but honestly, even that is nuts. I would personally do that drive no more than once per month, and I'd even push for once per quarter or never. If that can't be done, then look for another job that's either mostly remote or at least closer to home, so a shorter commute. Employers understand changing job in and around the pandemic. Certainly, they'd understand if your stated reason is I was spending 4 hours in the car every day and I have a newborn. Again, right? Like, it is an understandable reason why you'd have to find another job. Yes, boss, I'll work 8 hours at your office and also spend 4 hours of my time making negative money in order to do so. Sounds great. See you Monday. Sounds like you should move. Life's too short to waste hours commuting, especially when you have young kids at home. You can't get that time back later. Even the shorter commute will take up a ton of your time and money. Interesting. I wish the person who posted this would actually make it way more sense. Huh, interesting. This person actually broke it down. Interesting. So, as someone whose commute is 60 miles each way, here's some math I did basing round trip mileage per day and how it would accumulate per year. 60, 120 one way round trip, 1.5 hours each way, already on a weekly basis, that's 300 to 600. That quickly turns into 1200 to 2400 a month times 12, assuming not using PTO. So 14,400 or 28,880 a year, not including any personal mileage. Now let's look at just the time. Let's say 1 hour to prepare for work in the morning, couple of snoozes in the alarm, agreed, dressed, brushed teeth, breakfast, 1.5 hours each way, 3 hours travel daily, assuming an 8.5-hour work day to factor in a lunch, 11.5 hours and only paid for 8. You get home, you make dinner, watch a show, and need to get enough rest to prepare for the next day. Let's say 6 hours sleep if you're lucky. In a 24-hour day, you've already committed 18.5 hours to those listed. You'd be operating on roughly 5.5 hours of free time, assuming no other responsibilities like grocery shopping, personal time, or anything. Now, double that commute time in your case, and your days are decided before you even wake up. In addition, if your car is getting 22 mpgs on 240 miles each way, 240 miles a day. Assume low end, that's $3 per gallon. That's 10.9 gallons of gas a day. Equals $32.70 a day in fuel costs, not considering wear and tear on any vehicle. $32.70 times 5 says in office equals $163 and 50 cents per week, $654 per month, $8,502 based on 260 days in office or 2080 hours. Mileage 62,400 a year based on the average 2080 hours of work or 260 days. Nobody would come out of this job mentally stable. Numbers can really put things into perspective for you. Too long did not read current car or new car. You will not last a year in costs. Interesting. Feel free to give your perspective. Like to me, either request to be permanently remote or honestly just find another job because at this point it's like you'd be spending way too much time in the car. Way too much time. And you're trying to justify getting a new car, which you're basically just going to be lighting on fire from all the driving that you're doing. And like you're getting a car that would cost you what the $2,600 a month? That's crazy to me. Crazy. And I don't see any other posts from the main person, so feel free to give your cars. That's crazy though.